And we are live. Welcome back to day 94 of This Is Not Advice. You've got Min and Roy here from Bloomberg Beta talking about answering your questions about work. And this week we're answering questions about startup firsts. And tis the season for YC interviews. And so we figured we might do a very pointed one, which we've had founders ask us about. I got into YC. Should I do it?
Yeah. First of all, congratulations on YC, or congratulations on anything good happening to you. One of the things that I think is cool about YC from what I've heard from founders just in the application process is they ask questions that are useful. So doing the work on those questions is not wasted work, regardless of what ends up happening with your startup. So the answer depends on what your goals are. This is definitely another it depends answer. Often, if not almost always, the answer is yes. But it's expensive. 7% of your company is a lot. I mean, it doesn't sound like that much in the beginning, but like when you're a very big company, it's a lot. And YC for sure delivers that value and doesn't always deliver that value. I mean, just to be honest about it, we've had cases where founders have said to us, well, what value do you wish you had given YC? And the number was very much lower than the 7% that they got. The vast majority of founders who we've worked with have been thrilled. And by the way, we've had many cases, Flexport, where we invested just after somebody was in YC, and several cases we invested before. And then the companies got into YC and said, should we do it? And we're like, in some cases, well, we've helped them think it through. And in many cases, the answer isn't obvious. And in some cases it is. So that's our kind of general take on it. What do you get from it? If you get a wonderful community of founders, you get an occasion in order to develop what you're doing. And then if you end up with a partner working with you or other founders that give you wonderful advice, then the advice can be transformative for your business. That's more of an if. I think it's a little less reliable, especially when the classes have gotten bigger. But what does that mean is founders who lack a network of other founders, it can be really valuable, especially, by the way, if your early customers are other startups, well then great, you got a built-in set of customers right there. Founders who have been kind of wandering a little bit, but need that moment to focus and get something together in 6 weeks to grow some metric, and then show up at demo day and present, about to fundraise, it can be very valuable for them. From what we hear, this is all secondhand. Those can be really useful. The cases, I think, where it's less useful are where people are like, I really just want that name. I want that validation. The name is great. Names are great. The Bloomberg name is great. Is it a reason? No, it's more like gravy, after the fact. 7% for a name is a lot. And I just say that the choice of whether to do YC, like so many other choices in a founder's life, are great opportunities to try to think things through from the principle of what you want and why. And if you can think it through that way, then great. And by the way, the value lasts long after YC. I think many founders are surprised that the program of YC itself, it's not like you're full-time doing YC things for 6 weeks. They're checking in with you as you make progress in very structured ways, but the community lasts forever. Being in Bookface or the internal social network lasts forever. Obviously the reputational benefit lasts forever. And yeah, so I guess your mileage may vary, know which road you want to be on. How does that land with you, Min? You talk to founders thinking about YC all the time.
I mean, totally. I mean, the answer totally depends, right? Because the one thing I would also say is the classes are fairly big for each YC class. And so it is less about, the whole thing, but who are the kinds of partners that you get to work with, who's in your cohort of other founders that you get to know.
Or something like that. I forgot exactly what they call it now.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember. And then the other thing I was going to add is there are a number of other accelerators that are also great.
Yeah.
So the broader question about I got into an accelerator, different, we've worked with all sorts of really wonderful people at Acceleprise or even
Alchemist, Techstars, OnDeck. Oh my God, did I just start listing and then you left my thing? Sorry. I love you, whoever you are, who I think highly of you, but I don't have any paper in front of me, and my active member is not that good.
And so each one has their own set of relationships and customer, specialty even, whether it is customer introductions or helping you figure out go to market or just really great, valuable money. And so figuring out what is it that you're really looking for. A good place to start too.
Can I just say one thing about other accelerators, which is sometimes people ask, how do I know if an accelerator is good? There are definitely bad accelerators out there. Accelerators that will extort you and are useless and phony. the question I always ask myself is, what's the best company that has gone through that accelerator? And if you can't think of who that is, then be very cautious before betting that it's you. You're going to take a lot of other bets with your startup. You might want to bet if you know the people and you think they're amazing. Remember the early classes of Matter, the media accelerator. A lot of people went there because they just had so much faith in the team, but caution on it. And then one last little thing, Min, you said the classes are very big. And I want to just give 2 frames of context for that. Is they have become very big relative to what they once were. Somebody we've collaborated with frequently was a person in the first YC class, and listening to them talk about what it was then, it was obviously different. And so it's very big compared to that, but compared to how many great startups there are in the world, and compared to how many people deserve to learn the startup trade, it's still small. And so I think the question is more like, what do you get in experience? People often liken YC to a university. Oh, and I will say one other thing about that in a second, but it's what do you get from it? And like a university, YC, while it has made great strides in becoming more diverse in the base of founders that YC works with, it still tends to have a certain community of people, fewer second-time founders, fewer big enterprise founders, fewer older founders, if I may say, and let alone other forms of diversity where YC has been more public about it, like gender and race and all kinds of other stuff. And so part of it is you're going to build a community of founders, but that community is not going to be representative of all tech founders. It's going to be representative of sort of a certain important cluster type segment of tech founders and not the market as a whole.
Yeah, that's fair.
Many great companies have skipped YC.
It's true, the anti-YC problem.
Yeah, totally.
Amazing. Well, thanks, Roy. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll have a special guest on tomorrow to talk about enterprise sales and how to do that if you're a first-time founder.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
And I would say, particularly curious for YC founders who've listened to this, correct us if you think we got it wrong. I mean, we're really speaking secondhand here. And so this is our attempt to share what we've learned, but I've never been through YC, much as I would like to.
Awesome. Sounds good. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
Bye.